3 years after my husband's death, a lawyer called me and said, "I found a secret letter from your husband in his safe. Come immediately and don't tell any of the relatives." When I found out what was in the letter, good day, dear listeners. It's Clara again. I'm glad you're here with me. Please like this video and listen to my story till the end and let me know which city you're listening from. That way I can see how far my story has traveled. For 37 years, I thought I knew everything about my husband, Robert. We built our life together brick by brick, raised 3 children, survived 2 recessions, celebrated countless Thanksgivings in our modest Cape Cod house. Robert was a postal worker, steady as clockwork, predictable as the sunrise. When he died of a heart attack 3 years ago, I grieved deeply, but found comfort in our memories. Our children, Michael, Sarah, and Jennifer, gathered around me, and life slowly resumed its rhythm. I spent those 3 years living quietly on Robert's pension and Social Security. The house was paid off. My needs were simple. I volunteered at the library on Tuesdays, played bridge with my friends on Thursdays, and video called my grandchildren every Sunday evening. It wasn't an exciting life, but it was mine, and it was peaceful. Then everything changed on a gray October morning. The phone rang while I was watering my African violets. The caller ID showed a number I didn't recognize, a Boston area code. "Mrs. Patricia Whitmore?" a male voice asked. "Speaking," I replied, setting down my watering can. "My name is David Chen. I'm an attorney with Morrison & Associates. I apologize for calling out of the blue, but I need you to come to my office immediately. It's about your late husband's estate." My heart skipped. Estate? But everything was settled 3 years ago. The will was straightforward. "Mrs. Whitmore," he interrupted, and his voice dropped lower, almost conspiratorial. "I found a sealed letter from your husband in a safety deposit box we're just now inventorying. The box belonged to my late partner, who handled Robert's affairs before I joined the firm. This letter, it's addressed to you, and it contains information that changes everything." "What kind of information?" My hands trembled. "I cannot discuss this over the phone." "But Mrs. Whitmore, this is extremely time-sensitive, and please—" He paused, and I could hear him choosing his words carefully. "Do not mention this call to anyone in your family. Not yet. There are complications." "Complications? What are you talking about?" King. "Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. My office is at 447 Beacon Street. Come alone, Mrs. Whitmore. Trust me on this." He hung up before I could ask more questions. I stood frozen in my kitchen, the phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the dial tone. A letter? After 3 years? Why would Robert hide a letter with his attorney? And why the secrecy about family? That night, sleep evaded me completely. I lay in our bed, my bed now, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing through possibilities. Had Robert been in some kind of trouble? Had he kept secrets from me? The man I knew was transparent, almost boring in his honesty. He balanced our checkbook to the penny, never missed a mortgage payment, coached Little League for 15 years. What could possibly be in that letter? The next morning, I dressed carefully in my navy suit, the one I'd worn to Robert's funeral. My daughter, Sarah, called just as I was leaving. "Mom, want to grab lunch today? I'm free this afternoon." "Oh, honey, I can't today. I have a doctor's appointment." The lie tasted bitter on my tongue, but Mr. Chen's warning echoed in my mind. Do not tell anyone in your family. "Everything okay?" Sarah's voice filled with concern. "Just routine, nothing to worry about." I hated lying to my daughter. The drive into Boston took 40 minutes. Mr. Chen's office occupied the 3rd floor of an elegant brownstone near the public garden. A young receptionist led me to a wood-paneled conference room where a man in his mid-40s waited, standing as I entered. "Mrs. Whitmore, thank you for coming." He shook my hand firmly. Please, sit down. Can I get you coffee? Water? Just tell me what this is about, I said, my patience exhausted by a sleepless night. He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a sealed envelope. The paper had yellowed slightly with age, and I recognized Robert's handwriting immediately. For Patricia to be opened only in the event of legal dispute, only in the Chai-E. Legal dispute? I whispered. What legal dispute? Mr. Chen's expression turned grave. Mrs. Whitmore, before you open that letter, I need to tell you something. 2 weeks ago, your son Michael and your stepdaughter Lisa filed a joint lawsuit contesting your husband's will. They're claiming that you unduly influenced Robert in his final years and that significant assets were hidden from the estate. They're demanding a complete reevaluation of everything Robert owned. The room tilted. Michael? My own son? And Lisa, Robert's daughter from his first marriage, whom I'd tried so hard to include in our family? They're trying to take everything from you, Mr. Chen continued quietly. And according to this letter, your husband knew something like this might happen. My hands shook so violently that I couldn't break the seal on the envelope. Mr. Chen gently took it from me, opened it with a letter knife, and handed it back. The paper inside was covered in Robert's familiar scrawl, written, I noticed with a pang, in the last year of his life when arthritis had made his handwriting cramped and difficult. My dearest Patricia, if you're reading this, then my worst fears have come true. I'm so sorry, my love. I should have warned you while I was alive, but I was a coward. I hoped they would prove me wrong. I hoped that after I was gone, they would leave you in peace. But I knew Lisa, and I knew the poison her mother planted in her heart. And I've watched Michael fall under her influence these past few years. They've been planning this, Patricia. Planning to take everything after I'm gone. The life insurance policy, the $750,000 one through my union, they know about it. But what they don't know is that I created a separate trust 2 years ago. It contains the proceeds from selling my father's commercial property in Worcester, $1.2 million. Only you and my attorney know it exists. But here's what you must understand. Lisa and Michael will not stop. They believe they deserve this money more than you do. Lisa thinks I abandoned her when I married you. Michael thinks I favored his sisters. They've spent years building their resentment, and now they plan to take it out on you. Don't let them, Patricia. Fight. You have every legal right to what we built together. The trust documents are with David Chen at Morrison & Associates. He knows everything. I love you. I'm sorry I left you to handle this alone. Forever yours, Robert. I read the letter 3 times, each word cutting deeper. My son, my Michael, whom I'd nursed through pneumonia at age 5, whose college tuition I'd helped pay, whose wedding I'd helped plan. He was doing this to me? How much are they asking for? I finally managed to ask. Mr. Chen consulted his notes. They're claiming you should receive only 1/3 of the estate as a surviving spouse, with the remaining 2/3 split between Robert's 4 children. Additionally, they're arguing that the life insurance policy should be divided among all children equally, not left entirely to you, as Robert specified. I did the math quickly. If they won, I'd lose nearly everything. The house would have to be sold to divide assets. I'd be left with perhaps $200,000, not enough to buy even a small condo in this market, not enough to maintain my independence. What about the trust Robert mentioned? I asked. That's the key, Mr. Chen leaned forward. They don't know about it yet. And if we play this correctly, we can use it to protect you. But Mrs. Whitmore, I need to be honest. This will be a brutal fight. Lisa has hired Malcolm Brenner, one of the most aggressive estate litigators in Massachusetts. They're claiming elder abuse, undue influence, even suggesting you isolated Robert from his children. That's absurd, my voice rose. Robert chose to limit contact with Lisa because she constantly demanded money. And Michael visited us every month until… I stopped, remembering. Until about 2 years ago. Then his visits became less frequent. He was always with Lisa during family gatherings, whispering in corners. They've been planning this, Mr. Chen said quietly. Your husband saw it coming. I stood and walked to the window, looking out at the common where leaves were turning brilliant shades of orange and red. People walked dogs, pushed strollers, lived their uncomplicated lives. How had mine become this nightmare? But as I stood there, something shifted inside me. The initial shock was giving way to something harder, colder. Robert had known. He'd prepared. He'd trusted me to fight. And I'd spent 37 years beside a man who taught me that you don't back down from bullies. What do we do? I turned back to Mr. Chen. First, we respond to their lawsuit. We file a motion to dismiss based on the statute of limitations. The will was probated 3 years ago without challenge. Second, we gather evidence of your marriage's legitimacy and Robert's sound mind. Third, we keep the trust confidential until absolutely necessary. It's our ace in the hole. What do you need from me? Everything. Bank statements, photos, letters, emails. Anything that shows your relationship with Robert was genuine and that he made his own decisions. And Mrs. Whitmore… He paused. You need to prepare yourself. This will get ugly. Lisa and Michael will say terrible things about you. They'll try to rewrite history, paint you as a gold digger who trapped a lonely widower. Let them try, I said, and I was surprised by the steel in my own voice. I know the truth. Robert knew the truth, and I'm not going to let them destroy his memory or steal what we built together. As I drove home, my phone rang repeatedly. Michael, Sarah, Jennifer. I let them all go to voicemail. I needed time to think, to plan. That evening, I sat at Robert's old desk in our study and began making lists. Documents I could gather. People who could testify to our marriage's strength. Evidence of Lisa's constant money demands over the years. Emails where Michael had asked for loans he never repaid. If they wanted a war, they'd get one. But I would fight smart, not angry. I would be strategic, not emotional. I would win. The next morning, I arrived at Mr. Chen's office with 3 banker's boxes full of documents. I'd stayed up until 3 a.m. organizing everything. 37 years of marriage distilled into bank statements, greeting cards, photographs, medical records. Every piece of paper that proved Robert and I had built a real life together. Impressive, Mr. Chen said, surveying the boxes. This will help immensely. Now, we need to file our response to the lawsuit. I've drafted a motion to dismiss, but I want your approval before we proceed. I read through the legal document carefully. It was cold, clinical language, but the message was clear. Lisa and Michael's claims were baseless, filed too late, and motivated by greed rather than justice. File it, I said. There's one more thing. Mr. Chen pulled out another document. I recommend we send a formal discovery request. We have the right to examine Lisa and Michael's financial records, communications, anything that might reveal their motivations. If they've been planning this for years, as Robert suspected, there will be a trail. Do it, I said without hesitation. That afternoon, everything changed. I was at home sorting through more documents when my daughter Sarah arrived unannounced, her face flushed with anger. Mom, what the hell is going on? She burst through the door. Michael just called me, absolutely furious. He says you've hired some shark attorney and you're accusing him of fraud? My heart sank. Sarah, sit down. There's a lot you don't know. No. She paced my living room like a caged animal. Michael says you're hiding money from Dad's estate. He says Lisa has proof that you manipulated Dad in his final years. He says you're trying to cut all of us out of our inheritance. And you believe him? The words came out sharper than I intended. Sarah stopped pacing, her eyes filling with tears. I don't know what to believe. My brother is saying one thing. My mother is acting all secretive. And apparently there's a lawsuit nobody told me about. I took a deep breath. 3 weeks ago, Michael and Lisa filed a lawsuit trying to contest your father's will. They're claiming I manipulated him and that I should receive only a fraction of what he left me. They want me to sell this house, Sarah, the house where you grew up. They want to divide everything, leave me with almost nothing. Sarah sat down heavily on the couch. Michael wouldn't. Why would he do that? Because Lisa has convinced him there's money to be gained. I sat beside her. Your father knew this might happen. He left me a letter warning me about it. A letter? What letter? I retrieved it from my purse and handed it to her. As Sarah read Robert's words, I watched her expression shift from confusion to shock to anger. Dad knew Michael would betray you, she whispered. He hoped he was wrong. I hoped he was wrong too. Sarah's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her face hardened. It's Michael. He wants to know if I'm on Mom's side or the family's side. As if I have to choose. You don't have to choose anything, I said gently. This isn't your fight. Like hell it isn't, Sarah stood abruptly. He's attacking my mother. That makes it my fight. After Sarah left, I felt a small measure of relief. At least one of my children believed me. But that relief was short-lived. That evening, Jennifer called, my youngest daughter, who lived in Seattle. Mom, I just got off the phone with Michael. He's saying crazy things about you hiding money and manipulating Dad. What's really going on? I explained everything again, my voice exhausted from repetition. Jennifer listened quietly. I believe you, Mom, she finally said. But I'm worried. Michael sounded obsessed, and he kept mentioning Lisa, like she's calling all the shots. Your father warned me about this in his letter. Lisa has always believed she was cheated. Because Dad divorced her mother when Lisa was 12? That was 30 years ago. And Mom, you didn't even meet Dad until 5 years after his divorce. Logic doesn't matter when someone's decided to be a victim, I said wearily. The next day brought the real shock. Mr. Chen called at 7 a.m. Mrs. Whitmore, we have a problem. Lisa and Michael have filed an emergency motion requesting immediate access to all of your financial records. They're claiming you're hiding assets and trying to move money offshore. That's ridiculous. I don't even know how to move money offshore. I know. But they've submitted an affidavit from someone claiming to be a close family friend who says they witnessed you discussing hiding assets with Robert before he died. It's obviously fabricated, but the judge might grant temporary access to your accounts while we sort it out. My blood ran cold. They're lying. Who is this friend? The name given is Patricia Dunmore. Do you know her? Patricia Dunmore, Lisa's mother, Robert's ex-wife, a woman who had spent 30 years poisoning Lisa against her father, and by extension, against me. She's Robert's ex-wife, I said through gritted teeth. She's been estranged from this family for decades. She didn't even attend Robert's funeral. Then she's committed perjury, Mr. Chen said grimly. And that gives us ammunition. Mrs. Whitmore, they've made their first real mistake. They've gone too far, and now we have grounds for a countersuit. Are you ready to fight back? I thought of Robert's letter, his warning, his trust in me to handle this. Yes, I said. I'm ready. Tell me what we need to do. Mr. Chen worked fast. Within 48 hours, we'd filed a counter motion exposing Patricia Dunmore's perjury and requesting sanctions against Lisa and Michael's attorney. We also filed for a restraining order, preventing them from contacting me directly or spreading false information about me to family members. But our most aggressive move was the subpoena. Mr. Chen subpoenaed all communications between Lisa and Michael from the past 3 years. Emails, text messages, phone records. If they'd been planning this, we'd find the proof. "This will send a message," Mr. Chen said as we reviewed the documents. "They thought you'd be an easy target, a grieving widow who'd just fold. Now they know you're fighting back." The response came faster than I expected. 2 days later, I was in my garden pruning roses when a black Mercedes pulled into my driveway. Michael stepped out, followed by Lisa. I hadn't seen my son in person since Christmas, nearly 10 months ago. He'd lost weight, looked older. Lisa stood beside him like a general directing troops, her expression cold and calculating. "Mom, we need to talk," Michael called across the lawn. My hands tightened on the pruning shears. "I have nothing to say to you." "Please," Lisa said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "We're family. Can't we discuss this like adults?" I walked toward them slowly, keeping the garden shears visible in my hand. Not as a weapon, but as a reminder that I wasn't defenseless. "You filed a lawsuit accusing me of elder abuse," I said evenly. "You submitted a perjurious affidavit from a woman who hates me. You tried to freeze my bank accounts, and now you want to talk like adults." Michael at least had the grace to look uncomfortable. "Mom, if you'd just be reasonable about dividing Dad's assets." "Your father divided his assets exactly as he wanted," I interrupted. "Everything was legal. Everything was fair. You're just angry because he left me the life insurance. Because you manipulated him." Lisa's mask slipped, revealing the rage underneath. "You stole him from his first family, and then you stole his money. You don't deserve any of it." "I was married to your father for 37 years, I said coldly. "I earned every penny of what he left me. I was there through his bypass surgery, through his mother's death, through every hard moment." "Where were you, Lisa?" "Oh, that's right. Demanding money and disappearing when he said no." Lisa's face flushed crimson. "You turned him against me. He made his own choices. Maybe if you'd treated him like a father instead of an ATM." "That's enough!" Michael stepped between us. "Mom, listen, we know about the trust." My blood froze. How did they know? Lisa smiled, sensing my shock. "Did you think we wouldn't find out? We have investigators, Patricia. They're very thorough. That $1.2 million trust, that's community property. It should be divided among all of Robert's children." "Get off my property," I said quietly. "Or what?" Lisa stepped closer. "You'll call the police?" "Go ahead. We'll tell them about the money you're hiding. We'll tell them how you isolated Robert from his children. We'll tell them everything." "Mom," Michael's voice softened, trying a different approach. "Just give us what's fair. Split the trust 4 ways among us kids and we'll drop the lawsuit. You can keep the life insurance, keep the house. Everyone walks away happy. Everyone except me, you mean?" I looked at my son, this man I'd raised, and barely recognized him. "Michael, your father left you $50,000 in his will. Sarah and Jennifer each got $50,000. He made sure you were all taken care of. What you're doing now, it would break his heart." "Don't you dare talk about what would break his heart." Michael's voice turned vicious. "You broke it first when you poisoned him against his own daughter." They had me surrounded now, Michael on one side, Lisa on the other. My heart pounded, but I refused to show fear. "You have 48 hours, Lisa said. "Agree to divide the trust or we escalate. We have affidavits from 3 more family friends ready to file." We have a forensic accountant who'll tear apart every transaction you and Robert made in the last 10 years. We have evidence of financial elder abuse. By the time we're done, you won't have anything left. Get off my property? Each word came out like ice. They left, but Lisa's parting shot echoed behind them. You can't win this, Patricia. We have unlimited resources. How long can you afford to fight? I stood in my driveway, shaking, until their car disappeared. Then I went inside, locked every door and window, and called Mr. Chen. They know about the trust, I told him. They have investigators. They're threatening to file more false affidavits. Let them, Mr. Chen said calmly. Every false statement they make is another nail in their coffin. Mrs. Whitmore, they're desperate. That's why they came to your house, to intimidate you into settling. It means our strategy is working. It doesn't feel like it's working. Take a few days, he advised. Rest. Don't engage with them. Let me handle the legal maneuvering. You've been under enormous stress. Go visit Jennifer in Seattle or go to Sarah's house. Get away from this for a moment. He was right. I was exhausted, emotionally drained. That evening, Sarah insisted I stay at her house. For 3 days, I tried to rest, tried to think about anything except the lawsuit. But even in Sarah's guest room, I couldn't escape. The reality of what my son had become haunted me. On the 4th day at Sarah's house, Michael called her phone. Sarah handed it to me with a warning look. Mom? His voice sounded tired, almost conciliatory. Can we please talk? Just you and me, without lawyers? Every instinct screamed not to trust him, but he was still my son. What do you want, Michael? To apologize, to explain. Please, Mom, meet me for coffee. 1 hour. That's all I'm asking. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a Starbucks near Sarah's house. Neutral territory. Michael arrived alone, and for a moment, seeing him walk through the door, I felt a surge of hope. Maybe he'd come to his senses. Maybe this nightmare could end. Mom? He slid into the booth across from me. I've been thinking a lot about Dad, about us, about this whole mess. Have you? I kept my voice neutral. Lisa has been in my ear for years, he said, staring at his untouched coffee. She's my half-sister, and she had it rough after Dad left her mom. She's convinced that Dad owed her more, that she got cheated. And I guess I started believing her. Michael, your father gave Lisa $30,000 as a wedding gift. He co-signed her first mortgage. He paid for her son's rehab, twice. What more did she want? Everything, Michael said quietly. She wanted everything. And she made me see all these moments from the past differently. She'd say, remember when your dad missed your baseball game? That's because of Patricia. Or, remember when you needed money for your business and he said no? Patricia controlled the purse strings. That's not true. Your father made every financial decision himself. I know. Michael rubbed his face. I know that now. Being in this lawsuit, seeing how far Lisa is willing to go, lying to investigators, getting her mother to commit perjury. Mom, I think I've made a terrible mistake. My heart wanted to believe him, but my head remembered his cruel words in my driveway, his threats, his demands. If you're genuinely sorry, drop the lawsuit, I said carefully. I can't, he said miserably. Lisa has control of it now. My name is on the paperwork, but she's driving everything. Her attorney, her investigators, her money funding it all. If I try to back out, she'll sue me too. She says I signed contracts, made commitments. So you're trapped. Mom, I need your help. He leaned forward desperately. If you'd just agree to give Lisa what she wants, maybe $400,000 from the trust, she'd drop everything. We could go back to being a family. And there it was. Not an apology at all, a negotiation, another manipulation. I stood up slowly. Your father was right about you. He was right about everything. Mom, please. You're not trapped, Michael. You're choosing this. You're choosing money over your mother, over your father's memory, over your own integrity. That's not being trapped. That's making a choice. I walked out of the Starbucks and didn't look back, even when he called after me. That evening, back at Sarah's house, I broke down. The stress, the betrayal, the constant pressure, it all came crashing down. Sarah held me while I sobbed. I'm losing him, I cried. I'm losing my son. No, Sarah said firmly. He lost himself. You're still right here, Mom. You're still the person who raised us with integrity. He's the one who chose to abandon that. Over the next week, something unexpected happened. People started reaching out. Robert's former colleagues from the Postal Service called to offer support. My bridge club organized a dinner at my house. They brought food, cleaned my kitchen, and spent the evening sharing stories about Robert. Our former neighbors, the Hendersons, sent a letter detailing how Robert had helped them through financial difficulties, lending them money he never asked them to repay. You'll need this for court, Martha Henderson wrote, to show what kind of man he really was. My sister flew in from Florida, insisting I needed family support. Even my cousin's daughter, a paralegal, offered to help Mr. Chen's office with document organization at no charge. You're not alone in this, my sister said one evening as we sat on my back porch. Robert knew you'd need people. That's why he built such a good life with you, because he knew good people would stand by you. Jennifer flew in from Seattle for a long weekend. Together with Sarah, we went through more of Robert's possessions, finding treasures I'd forgotten, letters he'd written me during his business trips, birthday cards with his heartfelt messages, photographs of our life together. Look at this, Jennifer showed me a photo from their childhood. Dad helping Michael with his homework. He's got his arm around him, totally patient. Dad was a good father. Michael knows that. Lisa might have poisoned his thinking, but somewhere inside, he knows the truth. Then why is he doing this? I asked. Because sometimes, Sarah said quietly, greed makes people forget what they know. Mr. Chen called with an update. The discovery is coming back and it's damaging to them. We have emails between Lisa and Michael from 2 years ago, before your husband even died, discussing how to challenge any will that didn't favor them. We have text messages where Lisa coaches Michael on what to say to Robert to make him feel guilty about the divorce. They were planning this while Robert was still alive? The betrayal cut even deeper. Yes, and Mrs. Whitmore, there's more. Lisa's financial records show she's nearly $300,000 in debt. Credit cards, personal loans, a second mortgage. She's desperate. This isn't about fairness. It's about survival for her. She needs this money. That's not my problem, I said coldly. Her poor financial choices don't entitle her to steal from me. Agreed, I'm preparing our counteroffensive. They wanted a war. We'll give them one. For the first time in weeks, I felt steady. My daughters stood with me. My community supported me. And I had Robert's memory to fight for. Lisa and Michael might have money and investigators and aggressive attorneys. But I had the truth. And I had something they'd never understand. Real love, real family, real integrity. 3 weeks of relative calm passed. Mr. Chen was building our case methodically, gathering evidence, preparing for trial. I'd returned to my house, reinforced with alarm systems that Sarah had insisted on installing. My daily routine slowly resumed. Library volunteer work, bridge club, Sunday calls with grandchildren. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, they came. I was reading in my living room when the doorbell rang. Through the window, I saw Lisa, Michael, and, unexpectedly, Michael's wife, Karen, whom I'd always gotten along with. Also present was Jennifer's ex-husband, David, who had remained close with our family even after the divorce. My stomach knotted. This wasn't a casual visit. This was a delegation. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. "What do you want?" "Please, Patricia," Karen spoke first, her eyes pleading. "Can we come in? We want to talk. Really talk. No lawyers, no threats, just family." Against my instincts, I let them in. They arranged themselves in my living room, filled with furniture Robert and I had chosen together, photos of our life together on every surface. "Mom," Michael started, and his voice was gentle, carefully modulated. "We've all had time to think, to cool down. This fighting, it's destroying our family." "You started this fight," I reminded him. "I know," he nodded, looking appropriately remorseful. "And I want to end it. We all do." Lisa sat forward, and I noticed she'd softened her appearance. Less makeup, a simple dress instead of her usual designer outfits. She was playing a role. "Patricia, I owe you an apology," Lisa said, and she even managed to make her eyes glisten with tears. "I've let my anger about my parents' divorce poison my relationships. My therapist has helped me see that I've been blaming you for things that weren't your fault. It was a good performance. I had to give her that. I've been in therapy too," Michael added, "working through my issues with Dad. I realize now that I projected a lot of my own failings onto you and Dad. It wasn't fair." Karen reached over and squeezed my hand. "Mom Whitmore, Michael has been tormented by this. He barely sleeps. He knows he's hurt you terribly. We just want to find a way forward." David spoke up then. "Patricia, you know I've always respected you. Even after Jennifer and I divorced, you treated me with kindness. I wouldn't be here if I didn't think reconciliation was possible. They were surrounding me with reasonableness, with apparent vulnerability, with manipulated witnesses. It was masterful." "What exactly are you proposing?" I asked carefully. Lisa pulled out a folder. "A compromise. A real one. You keep the house, all of Robert's personal effects, and $800,000 from the trust. The remaining $400,000 gets divided among Robert's 4 children, $100,000 each. You keep the life insurance policy. Everyone gets something fair, and we drop the lawsuit. No more fighting." "You'd be comfortable, Mom," Michael urged. "More than comfortable, and we could rebuild our relationship. I could bring the grandkids over again. We could have family dinners, holidays together." "Think about it," Karen added. "Is the extra money worth losing your son? Your grandchildren?" It was a brilliant trap. They'd dressed up theft as compromise, extortion as reconciliation, and they'd brought witnesses to make it seem reasonable. "I need to think about this," I said, stalling. "Of course," Lisa said smoothly. "But Patricia, we need an answer soon. My attorney is pushing to escalate. If we don't have a settlement by Friday, he's filing motions that will, well, they'll be very unpleasant. Claims about your mental health, about inappropriate financial transactions. We don't want to do that, but you will," I finished. "If I don't give you money that isn't yours, you'll publicly destroy my reputation." "It's not like that," Michael protested. "Then what is it like?" I stood abruptly. "Because it sounds like extortion to me." Lisa's carefully constructed mask slipped for just a moment, and I saw the calculation in her eyes. "It's reality, Patricia. You can't win this fight. Even if you win in court, you'll lose everything paying legal fees. You'll lose your family. You'll die alone. Is that what you want?" "What I want," I said, my voice dropping to ice, "is for all of you to get out of my house." "Mom," Michael tried. "Get out." The words erupted from somewhere deep inside me. "You come here with your fake tears and your therapy talk and your threats dressed up as concern. You think I'm stupid? You think I don't see exactly what this is?" "You're making a mistake." Lisa stood, her mask completely gone now, her voice dripping venom. "We're giving you a way out. If you refuse, then refuse I do, I said. You want the money? You'll have to take it from me in court, and I'll fight you with every resource I have. You don't have resources, Lisa hissed. You're a 73-year-old woman living on a pension. We have investigators, attorneys, unlimited funds. And I have the truth, I interrupted. I have 37 years of marriage. I have Robert's letter. I have your own emails planning this before he even died. Yes, Lisa, we have your emails. Every scheming message, every manipulation, every lie. Her face went white. That's privileged communication. It's evidence of fraud, I corrected. Now get out of my house before I call the police. They left in a fury. Michael slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. Through the window, I watched them argue in the driveway, Lisa gesticulating wildly, Michael hanging his head. After they left, I sat in the silence of my living room, shaking. My phone buzzed, a text from Karen. I'm sorry. They made me come. Michael promised me this was genuine. I had no idea they were threatening you. I'm so sorry. At least Karen had some conscience left, but I was afraid now, truly afraid. They were escalating. They were desperate. What would they do next? Yet beneath the fear, something harder crystallized. They'd shown their hand. They'd revealed their desperation. And in doing so, they'd made me absolutely certain I would never give them a penny. The court date arrived 6 weeks later. Mr. Chen had prepared me meticulously, mock questions, strategy sessions, evidence review. We had everything: Robert's letter, the emails showing premeditation, testimony from Robert's colleagues, financial records proving my claims. They'll try to paint you as cold and calculating, Mr. Chen warned as we sat in the courthouse conference room. They'll say you manipulated a dying man. Don't let them see you angry. Calm, factual, sympathetic. That's who you need to be. I understand. And Mrs. Whitmore, we're going to win this. The courtroom was smaller than I'd expected. Judge Margaret Chen, no relation to my attorney, presided with a reputation for no-nonsense efficiency. Lisa and Michael sat across the aisle with their attorney, Malcolm Brenner, an imposing man who looked like he ate raw meat for breakfast. Sarah and Jennifer sat behind me, their presence a comfort. Karen was noticeably absent from Michael's side. Brenner opened with exactly the strategy Mr. Chen had predicted. He painted me as a gold digger who'd targeted a lonely widower, isolated him from his children, and manipulated him into leaving me everything. Your Honor, Brenner's voice boomed through the courtroom. Patricia Whitmore systematically alienated Robert Whitmore from his daughter Lisa, poisoned his relationship with his son Michael, and in his final vulnerable years, convinced him to disinherit his own children in favor of her exclusive benefit. He called Lisa to the stand first. She played her role beautifully, the abandoned daughter, the wounded child, crying as she described how I'd stolen her father. She claimed I'd prevented her from visiting Robert in the hospital before he died, that I'd destroyed family photos that included her mother, that I'd intercepted her letters and phone calls. Every word was a lie. When it was Mr. Chen's turn to cross-examine, he was surgical. Ms. Whitmore, you testified that Patricia prevented you from seeing your father. Do you have any evidence of this? She was always there, always controlling who could visit. I see. And yet hospital records show you visited your father exactly twice during his final hospitalization, both times with Patricia present and welcoming you. Can you explain that discrepancy? Lisa faltered. I meant in the years before. Let's talk about those years. Mr. Chen pulled out documents. In 2019, you asked your father for $25,000 for your son's rehab. He provided it. In 2020, you asked for $15,000 for a business investment. He provided it. In 2021, you asked for $30,000 to avoid foreclosure. He provided it. Each time, Patricia encouraged him to help you. Do you remember that? He was my father! That money was rightfully— And each time, you stopped contacting him within weeks of receiving the money, until you needed money again. Your phone records show a pattern. Calls to your father spike when you have financial troubles, then disappear when your troubles are resolved. Does that sound like a loving daughter or a financial opportunist? Objection! Brenner shouted. Argumentative! Sustained, the judge said mildly, but I'll allow the records. Michael's testimony was even worse for them. He stumbled through his claims, contradicting himself, admitting under cross-examination that his father had been generous, that I'd always been kind to him, that his main grievance was feeling his sisters got more attention. Then Mr. Chen played his trump card. Mr. Whitmore, I'd like to show you Exhibit 47. He projected an email on the screen. This is an email from Lisa Whitmore to you, dated April 2022, 6 months before your father died. Can you read the highlighted section? Michael's face drained of color. I don't remember. Read it, please. Michael's voice was barely a whisper. When Dad dies, we need to challenge the will immediately. Patricia will have everything locked up tight. We need to claim undue influence, elder abuse, whatever it takes. There's at least $2 million in assets. We deserve half. The courtroom was silent. Your father was still alive when you wrote this response, Mr. Chen continued. You wrote, agreed. Let's start documenting everything now. You were planning to contest his will before he even died, before you even knew what was in it. This wasn't about fairness, Mr. Whitmore. This was about greed. Objection. Brenner was on his feet. These emails were obtained through perfectly legal discovery, Mr. Chen interrupted. Your clients opened this door when they filed their lawsuit. Judge Chen leaned forward. I'll allow it. Continue, Mr. Chen. I have 53 additional emails showing this conspiracy. I have text messages where Lisa coaches Michael on what to say to make Robert feel guilty. I have financial records showing Lisa is $300,000 in debt and desperate. And I have this. He held up Robert's letter. This is a letter from Robert Whitmore, written 2 years before his death, to be opened only if his children challenged his will. In it, he explicitly states that he fears exactly what has happened, that Lisa and Michael would attack Patricia after his death. He establishes a trust specifically to protect her from this eventuality. He details years of watching his children, particularly Lisa, treat him as a bank rather than a father. This letter was sealed and held by our firm. Patricia Whitmore didn't know about it until after the lawsuit was filed. Mr. Chen turned to face Lisa and Michael directly. These two people didn't challenge the will because they believed Patricia manipulated their father. They challenged it because they wanted money. Their father knew it. He saw it coming, and he took steps to protect the woman who actually loved him. The silence in the courtroom was deafening. Judge Chen removed her glasses and looked directly at Lisa and Michael. The silence stretched for what felt like an eternity. I've presided over estate disputes for 23 years, she said finally, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. I've seen families torn apart by grief and greed. But rarely have I seen such calculated, premeditated malice as what's been presented here today. Brenner tried to interject. Your Honor, if I might. You might not, Mr. Brenner. The judge's tone could have frozen fire. I've heard enough. This court finds that the will of Robert Whitmore was executed properly, that Robert Whitmore was of sound mind, and that there is absolutely no evidence of undue influence, manipulation, or elder abuse by Patricia Whitmore. I felt Sarah's hand grip mine. Furthermore, Judge Chen continued, the evidence presented by Mr. David Chen demonstrates that this lawsuit was filed in bad faith, with malicious intent, and with full knowledge that the claims were false. The emails and text messages show clear premeditation, planning to contest the will before Robert Whitmore had even died. Michael had his head in his hands. Lisa sat frozen, her face a mask of disbelief. The petition to contest the will is denied in its entirety. Patricia Whitmore is confirmed as the rightful beneficiary of her husband's estate, including all assets, trusts, and insurance policies. Additionally, I am sanctioning the plaintiffs and their attorney for frivolous litigation. Your Honor, Brenner was pale now. Mr. Brenner, your clients submitted false affidavits. They made deliberately misleading claims to this court. The sanction is $75,000 to be paid jointly by Lisa Whitmore and Michael Whitmore to Patricia Whitmore within 90 days. This will partially compensate her for the legal fees she's been forced to incur, defending against this baseless attack. Lisa made a strangled sound. Furthermore, I am referring this matter to the state bar for investigation of Patricia Dunmore's perjured affidavit. If she lied under oath, and the evidence strongly suggests she did, she will face criminal charges. Judge Chen turned her gaze to Michael, and I saw my son physically wilt under her scrutiny. Mr. Whitmore, your father left you $50,000 in his will. That was generous, given what I've learned about your relationship. You've now spent what I imagine is close to that amount on legal fees for this failed lawsuit. You owe $75,000 in sanctions, and you've destroyed your relationship with your mother and sisters. Was it worth it? Michael said nothing, and Ms. Lisa Whitmore. The judge's voice dropped even colder. You orchestrated this entire scheme. You manipulated your half-brother. You convinced your own mother to commit perjury. You attempted to steal from a widow who showed you nothing but kindness. I want you to understand something. You will not receive 1 penny from your father's estate. Not now, not ever. And if you attempt to file any future legal action against Patricia Whitmore, I will personally see to it that you face the maximum penalties available under law. This is unjust, Lisa finally found her voice standing up. That money should have been mine. My father owed me. Your father owed you nothing. The judge's gavel came down hard. He gave you life, raised you, and continued supporting you financially long into your adulthood despite your treatment of him. The only thing he owed you was honesty, which he provided in his will. Case dismissed. We're adjourned. As the judge left, chaos erupted. Lisa turned on Michael, screaming, "This is your fault! You were supposed to be more convincing. You ruined everything." My fault? Michael's voice broke. You told me this would be easy. You said she'd settle. You destroyed my family. Brenner was already gathering his papers, distancing himself from his client's meltdown. Sarah and Jennifer hugged me so tightly I could barely breathe. Mr. Chen shook my hand with a broad smile. Congratulations, Mrs. Whitmore. Complete victory. As we walked out of the courtroom, I passed Michael in the hallway. He looked up, his eyes red-rimmed and desperate. Mom, I'm so sorry. I never meant... You meant exactly what you did, I said quietly. You chose money over family. You chose Lisa's poison over your father's memory. You chose to believe lies over 37 years of truth. Those were your choices, Michael. Now live with them. Please, I can change. I can make this right. No, I said firmly, you can't. Some things once broken can't be fixed. I walked away from my son, feeling both heartbroken and free. The next week brought revelations that were almost comical in their poetic justice. Lisa's husband filed for divorce, citing her lies and financial deception. It turned out she'd mortgaged their house without his knowledge to fund the lawsuit. Michael's wife, Karen, filed for separation, telling Sarah she couldn't stay married to someone with so little integrity. The state bar investigation moved forward against Patricia Dunmore. She faced criminal perjury charges carrying up to 3 years in prison. And the $75,000 sanction? When Lisa and Michael couldn't pay within 90 days, the court ordered garnishment of their wages. They'd be paying me back for years to come. I didn't celebrate their downfall. I took no pleasure in their suffering. but I felt vindicated. Robert had been right. He'd known who his children truly were, and he'd protected me accordingly. Justice, it turned out, sometimes actually prevails. 6 months after the trial, I finally felt like I could breathe again. I sold the old house and bought a charming townhouse in a retirement community. Sarah and Jennifer helped me settle in, decorating with furniture I'd chosen myself. This space was truly mine. "Mom, you're glowing," Jennifer said. "I haven't seen you this happy in years." She was right. Without the constant stress, I'd rediscovered joy. I joined a book club, took watercolor classes, and signed up for ballroom dancing lessons. I traveled, 2 weeks in Italy with Jennifer, a Caribbean cruise with Sarah. The money meant I could help my daughters, contribute to college funds, donate to causes I believed in. But the best part? The peace. The absolute peace of knowing I'd fought for what was right and won. I even started dating a retired professor named Walter from my book club. It felt wonderful to think of myself as someone with a future. Meanwhile, Lisa and Michael's lives imploded. Lisa's divorce was brutal. Her husband got the house and custody. The perjury charges against her mother resulted in an 18-month suspended sentence. Lisa lost her real estate job and was working retail in a studio apartment, drowning in debt and the $75,000 sanction. Michael lost everything too. Karen divorced him, taking the kids who barely spoke to him anymore. He lost his business partnership and took a job at a car dealership. The sanction was garnished from his wages at 25% per paycheck. He'd be paying me back for years. He tried reaching out, emails I blocked, letters I returned. Once, he appeared at Sarah's house, begging. "Tell Mom I've changed," he pleaded. "Mom doesn't want to hear from you," Sarah said. "Maybe someday, but not now." I felt no triumph in their suffering, mostly sad that greed had destroyed them. But I felt free. One evening, Jennifer called with news. "Mom, I'm pregnant, and we want to name her Patricia, after you, after everything you've survived. We want our daughter named after the strongest woman we know." I couldn't speak, overwhelmed. This is what family should be. Not lawsuits, but love and honor. "Your father would be so proud," I finally said. "He'd be proud of you, Mom. You won." That night, I read Robert's letter again. "Don't let them, Patricia. Fight." I had fought, and I had won. Not just in court, but in life. I'd reclaimed my peace, my happiness, my future. And that was the greatest victory of all. Trust your instincts. Fight for what's right. Don't let anyone, even your own children, bully you into surrendering what you've earned. What would you have done in my place? Compromised or stood your ground? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for listening. Remember, you're stronger than you think, and you deserve respect. Always.